pain gets easier. It doesn't stay so long. It doesn't sting so bad because I take it as my lesson. What am I going to get out of this? I don't fight it. I embrace it. Yep, you need pain. You need pain for change.
This is going to hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast. Issue.
You know, for me, I find it easy to forgive. I do. It actually became easy for me because,
like a contractor screwing up your driveway.
even that, you know. But here's what sets me apart from most people's thinking. Everybody has a journey. Everybody. And who am I to judge their journey? And all the things that they create is part of what I call their karmic lessons to learn. So he's put in my life to fuck with me. And I'm put in his life to maybe let him fuck with me. Or if something happens, it's all part of the big plan. So if I fight all of those things, my key now is like, all right, here's one of the mantras I have. Everybody should have a mantra because it reels you in. And mine is, I have many teachers that bring gifts, sometimes in disguise, but my trust in the universe gives me the patience to let them unfold. I don't know why you wronged me yet. I will. But because I look at it as a teacher bringing me a gift, I'm not so angry at you. I have something to learn. You did that for a reason. What's the reason? Is it my ego? So when I put my ego in check, I told my kids a long time ago, I'm an older dad. And I told them, I said, boys, if dad checks out, I had a good life and I have no regrets. I love everything about what happened to me, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it's who I am and I like me. I said, but we come from a divine place to have an earthly experience. God put you here as a baby to learn your lessons. You touch the fire, you get burned. You touch the knife, you get cut. I said, so I learned over the years now, out of the rehab with the ego, that guy sits on your shoulder and he talks to your head. And when he talks to your head, he talks to your ego. You make mistakes. But the angel, she sits on your right shoulder. She talks to your heart. Because when it feels right, it is right. There's where you learn your lessons. So it's the same thing that happened, but which side is talking? So when I run it from my heart, I learn my lessons. And I believe in this world, when you learn all your lessons, you go home. And home is, for me, heaven. So when the kids came to me and said, but Dad, in the Catholic religion, you know, God says you burn in hell for an eternity for a sin. I go, no, God loves you. I said, what God does to you is he puts you back here. We're in hell. This is hell. And if you don't get it right, you come back from eternity. So when people wrong me, I try to make it right.
Well, hell is just the absence of God. But you've had this, so you've been sober now 35 years.
35, going on 36 years.
Has there ever been some temptation falling your way, somebody trying to draw you back? Because I've had those experiences and I sort of get angry at them because, in my opinion, when people try to make you fall, it's because they're feeling bad about themselves and they want to drag you down.
They're trying to bring you down a notch.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing for me is my son, you know, was having problems with some high school friends and all this other stuff. And I said, you don't worry, when you go to college, they'll be your best friends. He goes, but Dad, where are yours? I said, I'm a little bit different. I had to avoid all of those friends because I had people, places, and things that I associated with that, and I had to cut it loose. So for me, I let all those things go because I had to focus on this, on the new life. I didn't look at the old life. When you have people in your life that you love, and it gets easier for me. The pain gets easier. It doesn't stay so long. It doesn't sting so bad because I take it as my lesson. What am I going to get out of this? I don't fight it. I embrace it. Yep, you need pain. You need pain for change. How long do you want to stay there? My home group in Garfield, I'll never forget it. AA was a big part of my life up to a point. The problem was every home group I went to, it was the same shit. And life is about change. So when I go to the home group and I told them, I said, guys, I just want to let you know that this is going to be my last meeting, but I felt the need to tell you why. Mary, your husband, every week, the same shit. And Johnny, your job, you don't like it. You cry, you this. And Joe, it's always the same. I said, but for me, I want change. I want to get out of that. I want more. Don't drink and go to meetings is not enough for me. It's a great beginning thing. All right. The pain started there, but they stayed there. They didn't change. So without that change, you're destined to continue to do the same.
Kind of like wallowing in your own misery.
Yes, but they don't see it.
And you also get used to living in chaos.
You do.
Yeah, and that's a bad place to be. When who was it? Stephanie Samuels, who said, chaos. It's people just, they can't live without it. They expect it. They seek it.
And I go back to what I said earlier. The thoughts create the words create the actions become your habit, and those habits become your character. So this is my character. So you said, do I get tempted? No, I don't. It's in every cell of my body. I own it. It's not in my head. It's in my aura. It's in everything. And I use a litmus test. Cigars, okay? I quit smoking cigarettes was harder than any drug I ever did. That was terrible. So that's 34 years. So I used the litmus test. I go golfing and I had a cigar. I'm smoking 8 cigars a day. All right. They're $12 a cigar.
Nobody chain smokes cigars.
Nobody chain smokes, but that was me. So I said, you know what? If I could smoke 1 cigar, maybe I could have 1 drink. And guess what happened? I have not been able to do that. So until I could smoke 1 cigar, I don't miss it. I don't need it. I love my life. I mean, I've come so far. And the thing is that with this, you have a lifetime of learning and then you die. There's so much in between that you could give back, so before I die, I want to give back. It's just.
What's your method of giving back? You said meetings, you had to change that, but I know there's ways that you give back.
It's how I met you.
Yeah.
It was that simple. I just told the truth. We talked about something, nice house. Yeah, I was lucky, blah, 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 and, I don't even remember how it happened, but I feel so freely to tell people that I'm sober and clean for so long because there's so few of us that have that kind of sobriety. And it just, sometimes it resonates with people and it always strikes up a conversation. I could tell you that much, and it just did my office atmosphere. And I don't want to know you to talk about the weather. That's not my game. I want to know Kevin. I want to know Mike. I want to know what makes you tick. So by doing that, I do it on a one-on-one basis. I always say, do something nice and try not to get caught. You do it because it makes you feel good. I'm not ashamed of anything that happened. I'm not embarrassed about it. I have no anonymity because you never know who that one person is. So many times, can you help my son? Can you help my brother? This was a big step for me because I was really nervous about it. I've always wanted to do it, but I just didn't have the confidence. And
now you're on the show and you realize it is no big deal.
No, it's really not, and I hope I didn't, bore anybody, but this is it's a great feeling to be here to do that. And you guys, by the way, are great too. I love what you do, and any support I could give you, I'm always be there.
I appreciate it. We're here to help people. Like you said, you do something not to be watched. You do it because of your heart. We don't do this to say, hey, look what we're doing. We do it because it's helping people.
Yeah, I just want to let people know that, whatever you're in, it's a temporary thing if you choose that. If you want to be there, you'll stay there. Life could be scary, but it doesn't have to be. There's nothing I'm afraid of. I don't even mind checking out. I've made peace with that because I want to go home. For me, it's about pictures, okay? Is there a heaven? I have no idea, but I believe it. Why? Because it sucks not to.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I
What's
say
the
for me
alternative?
is true for me. So this is a bottle of water because we said it was. We believe that. It's no different with your feelings, with your life, whatever you're going through. Everything could be temporary. Everything to me, like teachers bring gifts, sometimes in disguise. All right. I made these things for myself, the affirmations. I made them for my kids so they have something to hold on to. They have something to look forward to. So I know when I check out, I'm in a better place. Let me come back and be that angel that holds that kid down from doing something wrong. Let me be that guy.
Well, what you went through, there's a purpose for it. We've spoken about this very freely in this episode. Everything that's happened to you has a purpose. There was a reason why you stole the car and you hit the fire hydrant and why you lifted Fat Eddie off the ground. There was a reason for all of that stuff. And this is the reason. I mean, it's pretty clear. Your life has purpose, and it just took you 60 some odd years to get here.
Yes.
But you had a great college education, if you think about it. Second to none.
I had a great life education, second to none. I mean, I lost all my scholarships. I wound up at a little Division III school up in bumfuck, wherever it was, Pennsylvania, but I graduated in 3.5 years, by the way. 21 credits a semester. I was voted most likely to go to jail. Okay. We just got done with our reunion. And what I wanted to say about that was, even though those kids did that to me, I knew that feeling. I always protected the underdog. I always watched out for those who didn't have. I was always a friend. And when I had my 45th reunion, Did I say that out loud? The 45th reunion. Everybody there came up and, Paul, you were always a great guy. Even though you were a football player, you this and that, you were always, that meant more to me than anything. And because I was a good person, I just did bad things.
I think maybe it's because you went through it and you didn't want to see anybody else go through that.
Pretty much. I'm still like that. Yeah. I'm a very big anti-bullier. I always help the underdog. And actually, I help anybody now. Anybody that needs it, it builds you. It just makes you feel good. So all the pain and suffering is a message. It's just a message. You don't have to stay there. You just, there's help there. We're not unique. You're not the only one. I wasn't the only one, but I'm on a journey. And when you get on that journey and keep an open mind and don't just think I have to do this, let it come to you. That giant spiderweb net I have out there, they say, Paul, you're very lucky. I said, no, luck is preparation for opportunity. I've seen it in my mind's eye already. I live it in my mind first, because if you can manifest it there, it'll manifest in reality.
If you put your mind to work at it, then, like you said, the mind is a great thing.
And you just have
you
to
put
learn
your mind to something, you're going to be able to accomplish.
You can. You just have to learn to use it, and they don't train you that in school. They train you book smarts. I got street smart, and then I got life smart.
But think about this sober life that you're living. I mean, just look at the step up on top of the stadium. We just talked about on Instagram Live, seeing the battlefield from the hill, like the generals in the Civil War. They always stood up on the hill. You were on drugs, drunk, broke.
That's when there's a ground soldier.
Disappointing your wife, lying to your wife. You couldn't see what you're going through. You're so far removed. You see the whole battlefield now, and you're like, and now you're successful, and you have a great family, and you got a beautiful, and you're a wonderful human being. You have a way of talking to people that engages them and makes them want to listen to you. All of that you're just working your way up through the ranks. That's all you're doing. And now all of a sudden you have this voice. And like I said, when you talk, I'm just sitting here listening. I got to remember we're still doing a show. So
it's funny. I think listening to him talk, he encapsulates what our whole show is all about.
I want to go start a company. I'm just telling you. I just want to go start it because I'm thinking, if I think it, I can do it. And, where it starts, actions, all that stuff.
Listen, I started with a shovel and a Chevy. I had a 1968 Chevy Impala. I just sold my company from one of the buku bucks, and I don't have to work. I have to do anything, but I never focused on the money. I never cared about the money. If you focus on the money, you could lose your business. But if you focus on your business, you'll always make money. And having a good team and mentoring your team, the company with the best team wins. It's not about me. I lost the ego. I brought them in. You attract like people. But I like what you said about the trenches, because I forgot that. That was a long time ago. But I remember crying. I was in hotel rooms 5 days by myself. I didn't even come out. All I did was freebase. But because I meditated, I would be able to meditate and go right to a meeting, be perfectly straight. My eyes wouldn't even be bloodshot. My heart rate would calm right down. And then I go back to the hotel and do it all over again, crying. Why am I doing this? I remember those days.
I can't wait to see, now that you're retired and you got that one thing off your plate, you're retired. I think you're destined to do some, especially the way you speak, you're destined to do some really amazing things coming up. Any plugs you want to throw out? Anybody you want to direct our audience to?
No, I want to just, if my wife gets to see this, you and the boys, I turn my mug because I can write something on it. I love you guys.
Your wife better watch this if she
Yes,
doesn't. Yes.
I didn't know where to tell
She's
her.
not a fan.
But you know what, guys?
One thing, I'm a quote guy, and I think this is all about you. When you're running a race, you're always looking at the finish line. You don't stop to see the scenery around the race. And that's what people do. They go through life running right for that finish line, and they don't get to enjoy everything that's around them.
But
we miss it.
You just made me think of something, and you're 100% correct. Because when I ran a New York City Marathon in 2006, I wanted to see what I was capable of. New York City Marathon, biggest marathon in the world aside from Boston. And I ran the race as if I was going to win. I'm 240 pounds. I'm 6 foot whatever. And I'm not winning this race. Come on. But I do remember running through the streets of New York 3 deep. I mean, I'll never have that opportunity ever again. And I ran it and I was blind. I had blinders on. All I could think about was just making it to the finish line. And when I got through the finish line, I was disappointed. I missed the journey.
Exactly. And that's life in a race. because you're always looking at that finish line. You're not
The
stopping
first
to
thing
enjoy
I
the things
said,
around you.
guys, I stopped and I saw that little girl's painting. Life is a journey, not a destination. And to stop and smell the roses is so important. And listen, I don't even care if life is that bad. There's something good. You know, you get out in nature, you get out, you break the cycle. It's a cycle. We get stuck in these cycles, and breaking out of them is sometimes hard. I listen, I'm open, I'm honest. You know, those things help break that cycle. I trust. I don't look over my shoulder waiting for people to screw me. I trust. And you know what happens? People don't screw me. You get what you ask for, you know? So I love your story that you have, and people going through that. Change is good. You don't have to be there. Change is good. It's not scary. It's just practice. It's just practice every day.
And patience. That's so you have to develop. I know Mike and I have developed an enormous amount of patience because you want everything now. Like that's the problem. Everybody wants everything now. They're not willing to work for it. They're not willing to put in the pain and the suffering in order to do it.
So I want everybody to get a pen and paper and remember this mantra. I have many teachers that bring gifts, sometimes in disguise, but my trust in the universe gives me the patience to let them unfold. Okay? It's important. Remember it and say it every day because it's the truth. So when bad things are happening, there's a reason why. And when you look at your angel and your devil and see who's talking, is it my ego or is it my heart? Follow your heart because it'll always lead you to learn your lesson. And when you learn all your lessons in this world, you go home. I believe that.
So we're coming to the end of this thing here, and it's been like this. This is going to be a tough episode to go through because there's so much that's coming out of your mouth that I'm going to be grabbing from. I'm going to be sitting in front of the computer for a long time. But I believe that you've lived a life of lessons because suffering, that's what it teaches you. It teaches you lessons. What do you think your suffering has taught you?
That's a really good question, Kevin. And honestly, all that suffering, I needed to have all of it to embrace, to move on. Like I don't begrudge it. Yes, it was painful at the time, but looking back, I say, thank you. Thank you for giving me that. And I don't ever want to go back.
You remember tomorrow. That's awesome.
It's all those dents that you have from back in the day. You still have the dents, but
You have the dents, but you know,
you could throw a coat of paint over them and they look a little better.
I accept all those dents. I do.
Wear
I
them like a
embrace 'em.
badge of honor. You
Yeah.
earned them.
Yeah.
You earned them. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Suffering Podcast, The Suffering is Success with Paul Martino. And let's think about all the stuff that we learned. God, I don't want to even go with that one first, Paul. Don't pants Paul. That's first thing I learned. Big egos make for a big fall. I will find and live my purpose. Don't allow somebody to live rent-free in your head. Luck is preparation for opportunity, but most importantly, thoughts, words, actions create who you are. Paul, I can't thank you enough for coming in. This has been amazing
It
and
really
wonderful.
has. It was fantastic.
I love you
That
guys.
was great.
I love what you do.
And you're always family here. You're always welcome. And anything that we can do for you, let's do it.
I
Let's do it.
appreciate
And
it.
we'll have them at our year-end party too.
Absolutely. At Mickey's Pub in Lyndhurst. That's going to do it for this episode of the Suffering Podcast. Don't forget, go to popple.com, put in the code TSP20 for your digital business card. Find us on all social media. That's Clapper, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. OnlyFans. Find Mike at Mike_Failace. Follow me at Real Kevin Donaldson. And, of course, follow the Suffering Podcast. And we're going to see you on the next episode.